What up, everybody? Your boy Josh. Make sure I got stuff on my teeth. Looking good. Looking good, Big Daddy. Yeah, looking good. Anyway, what's going on out there, everybody? Your buddy Josh hanging out. Let's see what I got over here. What am I reading over here? I got something about the sawmills in Maine. Yeah, got that. Got that right there. All right, there we go. Why some Christians don't believe in the Trinity by my man Forrest Meriday. Haven't read that yet. Got this right here. We've talked about this a couple of times. Coming Out of the Ice by Victor Herman. I kind of think it's fake, but I don't know. Who do I know? And of course, I got Common Sense on Mutual Funds by old John Bogle. Anyway, so welcome to the party. The party is here. Everyone's trying to party like it's 1899. That's the kind of partying I do. Let's party like it's 1899. And we want to talk some tax planning today. Tax planning. Let's just see right here. Make sure I'm live everywhere. And I guarantee Oklahoma ends up being LSU. Like, I think for the first time in my life, I want LSU to win. Are you aware the live show isn't going out? It's not? Oh, man, you're right. What the hell? Oof, thanks for time. I'm not aware. Appreciate you telling me that. Oof. Ooh, that's not good. What the hell, man? We gotta edit it. Why isn't it going on? Oh, missed it. All right, save changes. Yeah, let's see. Is it going out there now? Still says not going out there. What the hell is going on? All right, we'll try it again. Oops. Why is it? All right, let me go. Hold on a second, everybody. How do I got that there? Got that there. Very well planned. Go live right there. Okay. You were alive. You were alive. You were alive. All right, there we go. Looks like we're good. There you go. Hey, Andrew, how'd you? Huh. That's weird, man. There we go. Okay, there it goes. Anyway, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you sharing that with me, man. That's that's my major channel there. But anyway, so I guarantee LSU will lose today because the one time I want them to win, they're going to lose, and so their quarterback just does not look good. Martin Van Buren, basically the president's great grandson. Not looking good out there, Martin Van Buren. But and then they just gave up a 50-yard touchdown, Oklahoma. So, yeah, not looking good. And then let's see, Tech lost yesterday because the SEC refs were desperate to get Georgia to win, and they called the game on behalf of Georgia. Even though it's an ACC home game, just like last year, the SEC refs always college football says, look, we can't have Georgia Tech in the playoff because no one's going to watch. We can't have Georgia not in the playoff. We have to have Georgia win, and so Georgia wins. And that was a complete freaking giveaway. Not notification, but damn, I was hoping Pulverizer would not have found it. I was trying my best not to have Pulverizer here, but what are you going to do? I don't discriminate. So what else? And then we had Alabama's playing Auburn here in about half hour, and my Auburn son is home. And I guarantee Alabama wins that because, again, the SEC, who controls college football, and ESPN, they want to make sure Alabama and the SEC are represented. The interesting thing is, and this is why this is a conspiracy, but it's not even a conspiracy theory. My view will be reasonable. Right on, man. The interest, did I get stuff on my page? I don't think so. My pearly yellows? Nothing. The interesting thing is Clay Travis said a couple months ago that they had the ratings for the SEC games that were like through the roof, like almost up there with NFL games. It wasn't quite as high as NFL games, but it's like Penn State won and our 6-6 are going to a bowl game. Good for the players. Yeah, you shouldn't be going to a bowl game 6-6. What is this freaking? Everyone gets a trophy. We went 6-6. We're going to the Sun Bowl. Wow. Anyway, You shouldn't be doing that. It's nuts, dude. It used to be in the old days, you had to go 9-3 to at least go to a bowl game, or 8-4. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like you go 6-6, you go to a bowl game as long as you play 6 powder puff teams. Freaking Appalachian Technical College, then you can go to a bowl game. Wow, crazy, Marie. How dare you? Anyway, so was I just now? Oh, so anyway, I guarantee. Anyway, so the ratings for college football for the SEC at least were freaking through the roof, and it was like, not quite on par with the NFL, but it was pretty high. And so, and the SEC, the ESPN, I think signed a deal with the SEC. So ESPN just basically got taken to the bank by the NBA. The NBA said, dude, we're going to freaking basically, take you in the back and just take off your pants, you know what I'm saying, and have our way with you. Because ESPN spent like billions of dollars on the NBA, and the NBA is tanks. I mean, the NBA sucks, dude. It's crazy. The ratings are so down. It's insanity. And then but they paid him like $3 billion. And so ESPN is like, your goose is cooked. But then they got some deal with the SEC that was just like for nothing. Crazy. And anyway, actually, I wonder what the NBA, let me just double check. I want to look at something here. If that's okay with Marie. So let's go to Grok. Let's look at Grok, compare NBA ratings the last 30 years with population size in the U.S. All right, so let's see what old Grok says. Bazulki. All right, hey, Bazulki. What the hell kind of name is that? Ukulele? Ukulele? All right, hey, Bazulki. What's up, man? What's up? An interesting name. There's got to be a story behind it. And if you want to share the story, I'd be interested in hearing how you came up with that name. All right, so let's see what old Grok says. All right, so basically, right here. Oh, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Oh, yeah, I can share this with you. All right. Watch this. Watch my magic. All right, so here's the NBA ratings right here. And let's see here. NBA regular season ratings in orange. All right, so you can see, look at that. Viewers, millions. So their ratings went from a 2.5 share to a 1.6 share. The finals went from a 21 share to a 11 share. So basically the ratings freaking lost 50%, and yet the population went from 260 to 340. That's crazy, dude. That's a demon name. Bazulki? What the hell's Bazulki mean, dude? Oh, boy. I mean, that's just nuts. Look at that. I mean, that's crazy. So here's the NBA Finals viewership. It was at 21, and now it's at 11. It was at 7.5 during the pandemic. But look at the rating. I mean, 2.5 million. And now it's at 1.6 million during the regular season. That's just nothing. That's crazy. And it used to be at freaking 21 million, not share necessarily, 21 million during 1995, and now it's at 11. That ain't good, man. That ain't good. That's a fact. But you know what's going to, damn. Leo, did Oklahoma win? What happened? Yep, Martin Van Buren. Hey, that guy sucks, dude. Now we got to deal with SEC. We're going to have Georgia, I think, get a freaking bye. Why would Georgia get a bye? They're not even going to the SEC championship. Crazy. But at least we got a playoff, man. That's what I like. We just got a playoff. So that's good. So South Carolina got taken to the woodshed today by Clemson. That was good. Kentucky got smoked by Louisville. Georgia beat, obviously, Georgia Tech as the refs. And then who's the other? I think Ford and Florida State are playing. It looks like a close game. It looks like Ford is winning 17-14 last I saw. So Fast Eddie, that's your neck of the woods. Tell me who wins that game. And then Miami smoked Pitt. So Miami looks like a pretty solid CF college football playoff team. So Fast Eddie, tell me who's winning that Florida State game. I'd like to see that. Anyway, that's crazy. Overall decline in penetration. Damn, Grok. What the hell? Why you got to be so explicit? Yeah, Grok's like, and penetration. I'm like, dude, what the hell? How do I stop sharing right there? All right. So appreciate y'all being here for sure. Anything going on in your neck of the woods, everybody? So we got a couple people on X. Thank you for being on X. We got one person on my Facebook page. Thank you for being on my Facebook page. A couple people on the Josh Scanlon YouTube channel. Appreciate you being on Josh Scanlon YouTube channel, and the bulk will be here on the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. So I appreciate you guys being here, and we're gonna probably end it pretty quickly tonight. After about an hour or so, because I do want to watch some of that Auburn Alabama game and watch Auburn get killed. But Snowmageddon. Oh, speaking of which, another reason why we like the Big Ten as opposed, hey, Clint Perry, our Sooners got further than I thought. Yeah. Ah, man, Florida's smoking them now. Hey, look at my man Clint. You're a Oklahoma guy. I was going for LSU, but what are you gonna do? Snow again. You guys getting snow up there, Andrew? So I was watching the Iowa-Nebraska game yesterday. I was switching back and forth between the Iowa-Nebraska and the Mississippi State-Mississippi game. Mississippi State, Mississippi, everyone's out there in freaking, pants or shorts and sunny and warm. And then the Iowa-Nebraska game is all cold and snowy. And I said, this is what makes Big Ten football better. No one wants to see football in the sunshine in the middle of the winter time. Well, not winter, but the end of November. Everyone wants to see football in the snow and rain and grass and sleet. It's just like they used to be. Anyway, it's fantastic. We have too much snow in Iowa. I thought climate change would fix this. Well, climate change is, that's the what they call the polar vortex. That's because CO2 from us burning internal combustion engines are causing CO2, which is causing the polar vortex to head south from Canada and make it cold for you. It's crazy. Hello, clownfish. Oh, there's clownfish. 007 clownfish. But I appreciate $10, Clint. If you got something on your mind other than Oklahoma, let me know. It's pretty cool when Oklahoma has the Sooner Boomer thing going in. Sooner Boomer, is that what it's called? Going over when they scored a touchdown. How did Oklahoma get that touchdown? Gordon, Maynard, Texas. Hi, guys, is Gordon. Yeah. I just dude. LSU. So is what's his name from Mississippi? He's going to stay in Mississippi, or is he going to go to LSU? That guy, Lane Kiffin. About 4 inches in Northwest Ohio just had to shovel the driveway to run to Dairy Queen to get blizzards. Nice thing about being in the South is we don't have to do that very often. Probably once every 3 years we have to do any kind of shoveling. It's just basically just not much. You get a little bit of ice on here and stuff, and there is something to be said about that. If you want to get out of the house and you just drive, you can do it. You don't have to worry about it. I think us in the South who are from the North forget how much a pain in the ass it is to go outside, just to go outside and make a run to the Dairy Queen. You got to de-ice everything. That is a pain in the ass. It's easy to forget that. Now I just open up the driveway, the garage, and go. Don't have to worry about ice. Don't have to worry about de-icing. It's pretty sweet. So there is something to be said about the convenience of living in the South. That's for sure. We get a little bit of snow. I think every 3 years we'll get a couple inches. Nothing to deal with, and we'll get a little bit of ice. Just nothing. And I got a garage, a 3-car garage. So we park our cars inside so they don't get iced up. You got to warm them up a little bit. So what I do is I warm my cars up while the garage door is closed, and I sit in the driver's seat. And I just like to get high. I'm like, whoa, man. I'm just joking. Just joking, everybody. Everybody just joking. So I warm my garage up with the cars on. I warm my cars up with the garage door closed. Just another day for Andrew doesn't panic over snow. Yeah, if you're living in freaking Iowa or Ohio, no one's going to panic over snow. It'd be like living in Maine. It's snowing. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, if you're living in Maine, you're going to get snow. It's crazy. Great high school football team. 2, like the Jenks Trojans. Yeah, you just like because of the name Trojans. It makes you think. It makes you think that. The hell's Del Brett saying? 3-2. What the hell? Makes you think that you got some ladies at the ready. If you know what I'm saying, Clint Perry. He's like, I like the Trojans. Oh boy, Del Brett. What the hell are we doing here? 3-2-1. Del Brett thinks he's a NASA. He's like, I'm going to the moon. Me and freaking the boys there. By the way, you want to hear something? No snow in the Philippines. Earlier today, my son was mulching the leaves. Tonight, I was shoveling snow. That's funny. I'm going to show you something that's funny. Last time I tried to drive in snow, I was in a dead panic. Well, you pretty much panic over everything, Penelope. I can't lie. You're like, Trump is a fascist Nazi. Trump is a fascist Nazi. And I was like, Penelope, are the Nazis under your bed right now? Yes, they are. My daughter is babysitting this dog right here. That's Louie. Dude, Louie the dog. Oh my goodness. He's like bigger than Pablo and Finnegan combined. There he is. And went for Charlotte and Liam took the boys for a walk, and they saw Louie, and Louie ran for. He's like, "I'm getting out of here." He's so scared of Pablo and Finny. I was like, "Dude, look at this guy." Oh my goodness, so cute. Oh, I love him. It's a real dog there. Vandy B, Tennessee. I'm not talking to Josh since he picked on my football team. Nah, I didn't pick on your football team. I like Penn State. You know, I like the fact they keep it traditional. If they ever change their uniforms, I'd be pissed. But I was hoping Georgia Tech would have done that to Georgia. Curb stomp. At least I don't have a load of skid steer on the trail and Haughton. Cincinnati retirement is good. Yeah. All right, hold on a second. I was going to see if I can't find this. There he is. That's who Chloe's babysitting. He's so ugly. He's cute. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love him. I don't know how Penelope can't stand dogs. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Hey, Rebecca, we certainly did. It was fantastic. In fact, I just posted the picture of our Thanksgiving picture. Oh, by the way, Charlie Brown, never forget that Charlie Brown had Franklin sitting alone on one side of the table. Smart, Charlie Brown, smart. Charlie Brown. Hey, Alonzo! Charlie Brown was Scott Adams before Scott Adams was even born. Oh my goodness, that is too funny. Anyway, so this is our Thanksgiving picture, if I can find it. Oops, what the hell, man? Oops. Oh, by the way, best logo in all sports right there. Look at that freaking crazy guy. That guy's nuts. All right, so I'll just show you my. Oh, right there. That's our Thanksgiving picture right there. And I guess I'm still wearing the same shirt, even though it was 3 days ago. I love dogs, cats, not so much. Yeah, good on you, Penelope. Because the last thing we need is a freaking Southern California cat lady. All right, we have enough. I can't stand dogs either. Who the hell said Jeremy? Jeremy, did you change your name to Jeremiah on this one? What the hell, dude? What are you doing, man? Who says? No one on my YouTube channel says they don't like dogs. What the hell, dude? That's just freaking crazy. All right. Anyway, I was gonna try to show you this thing if I could. I'm sure I'm not gonna be able to find it. I was just going through some stuff on my I'm not gonna be able to find it. Anyway, it's just funny how NASA is yeah, I'm not gonna find it. Dag nabbit. Nabbit daggit. Anyway. Oh, I love indigenous people. They're all, yay, I love indigenous people too. Of Europe. No, I love indigenous people. Yay, of Europe. No. Most dogs are better than most people. I don't know if I agree with that. Damn, dude. Anyway, oops. I'm not going to find the thing on NASA. It's just kind of funny. Look at that guy. Sniffy Joe. And they say Trump's the one we got to be worried about. Oh man, I wish I could find it. Yeah. All right. Anyway, you don't get banned, Jeremiah. Exactly. He's gonna get banned. He keeps that crap up. Freaking Jeremiah. Jeremiah. Anyway, so there's a thing that NASA posted. It's like, and you're trying to tell us the freaking you went to the moon? What? I'm not gonna find it. That's my Trump with Charlie Brown MAGA kicking the football. Trump, I tell you, man, look, I would love for Trump to win and all that stuff, but dude, you guys just, I mean, it, it's coming, Josh. He's playing 4D chess. He's playing 4D chess. Like, okay, I've never heard that before. It's crazy. Anyway, I guess I'm not going to find this thing on NASA. But yeah, that is pretty badass. Look at that freaking Pat the Patriot. That's 10 times better than the Flying Elvis. Look at that guy. He's freaking looking for blood. Right here. Want to improve your economy? Throw all the communists out of helicopters. 100%. 100%. It's the way to do it, man. It's the way to do it. All right. Undergraduate majors with the highest unemployment. You'll never believe this. Anthropology is number 1, but no, it's number 2 and 3. Physics and computer engineering. Isn't that crazy? Physics and computer engineering. But we need H-1Bs because we won't be able to find the people to do the jobs. Okay. All right. So let's talk some tax stuff. Oh. Oh my lands. Oh man, I was hoping I could find that thing, but I guess I'm not. Oh, top 10 Fortune 100 American dream thieves. So Amazon, Microsoft, Google, IBM, Meta, cumulative foreign link tech. So they've laid off tens of thousands of people, and yet they've hired Amazon 200,000, Microsoft over 150,000 of H-1B, something called OPT, L1, H4 offshoring body shops, mostly India. Pinochet knew what was up. Yes, he did, Paul. I'm a big fan of Pinochet. Bring him back. Pinochet for the win. Anyway. No, this is my high school I went to when I was in Maine, Portland High School. Look at this. Portland High. This is Maine now. This isn't Atlanta. This is Maine. My high school in Maine is now 41% white, 38% black, 13% Hispanic, and 6% Asian. That's in Maine. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, Trump said Americans can't do that work. They need H. Yeah, 100%. Trump is such a clown. I just, yeah. Look, I mean, he's better than the alternative, but people still think Trump knows what he's doing. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I mean, I'm. Let's put it this way: I'm not holding my breath for nothing. All right, so let's talk some tax stuff here. Maine is the whitest state. Yeah, exactly. Here's a guy just got his book, Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera. This guy right here. It looks like Dracula, but the complete works of this guy in English, the 20th century right-wing thinkers, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this guy's book. Computers work great for me, but I got out at the right time in the early 80s, retired 60 years ago. Yeah, right on, dude. All right. So a couple things for taxes. So it's the end of the year. The one thing we don't want to do, first and foremost, if you're going to make an investment, outside of an IRA, you don't invest into a fund that's getting ready to pay a dividend or a capital gain. That's called buying the dividend. The worst tax mistake you can do is stupid, because basically what you're doing is you're buying a taxable event. All right. So if you got 100 shares, or you're buying 100 shares, and for each share they pay $1 dividend, that is $100 taxable distribution that you'll have to pay tax on. So don't buy the dividend. You wait until the dividend is sent, and then you buy it afterwards. That way you don't have to buy yourself into a taxable gain. I've done videos on this a couple of years back. It's been a while, but buying the dividend is probably the stupidest tax you can pay. Now, everyone and their mom says, yeah, but Josh, I'm getting more shares because the price went down. I'm like, dude, It's all the same. It's kind of like stock split. Said the dude looked like the Count. He did. He looked like Count Dracula. Yeah, and he's putting commies on pikes. That's what we want him to do. Now this is from Delgado, Spain. Or was that? Yeah, Spain. Delgado. You're Portuguese. Is that right, Paul? What's you're not. I think you're Portuguese. You're not, or are you Spanish? What's still? Wait, are you Cuban? What are you? But you from what's your back? I thought I got Portuguese in my thought, but I'm not sure why I think that. Anyway, but anyway, so going back is I've been following a little bit of the fascist Spanish with Franco and whatnot. It turns out Franco, something called the phalangist, and I don't know what the phalangist is. So that the guy was telling me about it on X. He said you should read this guy's book if you can find it in English. I said okay. So I'm looking. I haven't got it yet. I'm very much looking forward to reading it too. By the way, so I'm very interested in the phalangist or whatever the hell it is. I don't know anything about it. Nothing. I don't even know that much about Pinochet. Pops is a Cuban. That's right. Okay, right on. Yeah, I mean Cubans are freaking legends. But I'm very much looking forward to reading the counter to the narrative of fascism always bad at all times. I have some money parked in the commodity fund. I don't care about paying some tax on distribution. Yeah, no, dude, but you don't buy it though. That's what I'm saying. You don't sit. Okay, let me just be very clear. Pulverizer, as always, doesn't get my point because Pulverizer is basically an infantile. All right. So we got to like slow down. Pulverizer is like a Marine Corps infantryman. All right. You can't anything more than 3 syllables. You can't quite get it. So what's happening is if you already own a position in a stock or a fund of some sort that pays a dividend, that's fine. You're going to have to pay tax on it. I mean, if you didn't know you're going to pay tax on it, that's crazy to me. You should have known that. But the issue is you don't buy into it right before it pays a tax because you're buying into what's a taxable distribution, where if you just would have waited till the very following day, you would have bought into it at a lesser share price. All right. So, I mean, it's all the same. I mean, literally everyone thinks if they do a stock split, somehow you're getting more shares for nothing. No, it's just 50. It's literally 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. It's literally the same thing. The issue here, though, is when you make a purchase of a fund and it issues a dividend, you have to pay tax on that dividend, which is a net loss to you for sure. If you would have just waited for the dividend to be issued, then the price would have dropped by the amount of the dividend, and you could just go in there and buy it at a cheaper amount without getting the dividend. Buy the dividend is a big deal. I'm stunned how many people don't know this. Now, what happens is there's, Vanguard index funds don't have a capital gain or anything like that. So you're not really buying a capital gain if you're buying a Vanguard index fund, but there still could be a dividend. There's not much in dividends in terms of index funds today, but there certainly are, like Wellington. Sometimes there'll be a high dividend fund. It certainly can have a big dividend. You just don't buy that. And when I'm saying, look, $1,000 a month, $500 a month, that doesn't matter. You don't put $50,000 into a fund. Let me give you an example. I don't have my freaking calculator. So let me give you an example. Let's just say for simplicity, Vanguard Wellington is going to pay a 6% distribution. All right. I put $50,000 in there. That means I have $3,000 of income that I got to pay tax on just 3 months later. If I would have waited the very next day to bought that $50,000 worth, I would have the exact same amount as I did with I bought it, but I would have no taxes. I hope that makes sense. If I don't make any sense, let me know. We can go into this deeper. But it's the same thing. I have the same value, but the value is I have to pay tax on that $3,000 distribution. For just simplicity, we'll say it's 15%, that'll be $450. So I lose $450 because I bought the dividend. If what the next day is next year, I'll just do it next year. No big deal. No big deal. Just wait. That's no big deal. It literally doesn't matter. If they issue the dividend the following year, the following day, it doesn't matter. But don't again. I'm not saying that $500 or $100. I put $1,000 a month in a VTI. I'm not going to change that for anything. But if I'm buying it, I want the money to go in that year. I don't know any. I mean, I get Does it matter if it goes in that year? I don't get why would it matter if it goes in December 31st versus January 1st? Why does it matter? I don't get why would that matter. One day different. I don't get it. But anyway, so if you put the money in and you get that $3,000 distribution, it's going to cost you $450 that you're now out if you just would have waited to the following day to buy it. All right. So, okay. So Rebecca, because she's smart, says that makes sense. But, obviously Pulverizer, Fast Eddie, all these other guys, they don't get it. They're like, I don't know, man. That doesn't make sense. I want the money going that year. And I'm just goofing on you, Fast Eddie. I don't understand why. What would be the big issue about it going in that year versus the very next day? If the following year. All right. I said that because I like the way your face makes that crazy look. All right. You just Fast Eddie. Look, I know you love my hair. I know you're like, dude, I want to see Josh without his hat on. First time watcher, love your videos. Why do funds wait until December to issue their distributions? Make tax planning a challenge. Thanks to Minnesota. Yeah, I think they do that because they're gathering up all their stuff at the end of the year distributions. They've always kind of done that. I don't know like specifically why. I just think it's always been like that. For some reason, they say, hey, we're going to wait until the end of the year to give our distributions out. Remember, some funds will even do a special dividend distribution too. And my advice makes perfect sense. Thanks, man. And then again, so if you're doing a special distribution, I mean, I literally don't know how you look up funds that are doing special distributions. Just look to see if your fund is. But sometimes there'll be a major special distribution, and you're like, damn. I mean, again, if you own the fund right now, that's fine. Look, you're going to pay the tax come hell or high water. Why waiting to rebalance bucket, sell some BTI due to Irma? Waiting to rebalance bucket. Sell some BTI in my brokerage account due to Irma. Okay. Most funds don't wait until the last day of the year to pay cash. 100%. That's exactly right. I don't know any fund that would wait to the last day, frankly, but 100% J2 Biz. But most funds are going to do it the second or third week of December anyway. But that's right. And I remember, so just as a side note, we're only talking about brokerage accounts. We're not talking about IRAs. We're not talking about Roth. We're only talking about 401ks, only talking about brokerage accounts. Because only brokerage account pays taxable distributions. I find December 15th is popular. Yeah, it seems like there are. I think a lot of Vanguard is like December 22nd. Anyway, so the point being is if you just sold your house and you got $100,000 and you're going to put it into a fund, just wait until I would say next year. Don't put it in today and get the dividend. Now, if you put it into a bond fund, it doesn't matter. Because theoretically there could be a little bit of capital gain. I don't think so. There could be. Just be advised. The likelihood of there being a big capital gain in a bond fund today isn't very high. And bond mutual funds typically pay bond interest every month, even though a bond itself only pays quarterly, usually semi-annually. But bond mutual funds typically pay every quarter, every month. So, put in $100,000 in a BND or whatever, some bond fund, that's not that big of a deal. It's the stock funds for the major dividend distributions, the capital gain distributions. Just wait. I cannot stress this enough. Do not do that because that's just idiotic because you out $450 when you didn't have to be, if that makes sense. Stock splits, 100%, Brad. Stock splits trigger a psychology shift that cause the price to increase because people like to buy lower price stocks. You'll always win. I don't know about that. I'd hate to say always win. I'd never go on the. I'd never want to be accused of saying you almost always win if the stock splits. There's a reason why we have Berkshire A and Berkshire B, because Warren Buffett says the exact same stock. Yeah, but Berkshire A is I don't even know what the hell it is for $150,000. Berkshire B is what I think it's like 1/100th of that or something like that. So people be more inclined to buy Berkshire B as opposed to Berkshire A because they couldn't afford to buy one share of Berkshire A. I get that. But it's the same kind of concept here. They say, why don't you just split it? And Warren, this is a long time ago when they came out with Berkshire B. And Buffett said, why? I'm not going to split it. So he issued a different share class of Berkshire B. $750,000 for about $750,000 for A, about $500 for B. Wow, $750,000 for Berkshire B. A. Dude, I remember it was like at 120. That's crazy. Are you kidding me? Oh, by the way, and are these Nazis here in the room with us now? They're everywhere. Are the Nazis in the room with us now? All right, I can't believe is that Berkshire A is freaking 750,000. Yeah, 770. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, I remember it's freaking like 120. I think that's when they issued the Bs. Like it was one, yeah, right there about 2008. Yeah, 2007, 8. That's crazy, man. That's nuts. Anyway, I think the way gold's been going, the commodity fund will be paying out more than past years. Let's take a look. Actually, that's interesting. Let's take a look if I don't know why they would. Let's look at USAGX, capital gains, capital estimated dividend right there. Estimated distributions. Just I don't even know if this Victory is the name of the company. Distributions 2025. All right, let's see what we got. All right. I'll share the screen with you guys. Berkshire A. I'm cashing out CD next year. Is the only interest added to my tax? Yeah, 1%, Marie. There's no capital. I mean, well, let me just be clear. If you have a brokered CD trades just like bonds. They have a fluctuating price. All right. So a CD at a bank has no fluctuating price. It just stays at $1 per share, $10 per share, whatever the hell it is. It's really not a per share. It's just you put $10,000 in, you get $10,000 in plus interest. There's no capital appreciation, capital decline, or anything like that. Brokered CDs that you get at a bank trades like a bond. There is a swing in share price, not very much. And the closer you get to maturity, the closer it will be to par value, basically whatever you bought it at, or whatever is issued, I should say. So there's not, unless this is a brokered CD that had a wild swing in price because interest rate declined, there won't be any capital gains. I check under my bed every night to make sure Trump or some other Nazi isn't there. Yeah, what I'm saying. Vanguard Prime Cap or S&P 500 better for 401k. There's no way for me to answer that, brother. No way. I don't know. We're going to look up gold. All right, so I was going to show you this right here. But if you guys want to answer that for that, if you guys want to talk about that guy, Prime Cap versus S&P, hey puppy. All right, so here's the used to be USA Precious Metals Fund, and we see here right now, expect to have a finance category to fund this. Okay, where I see capital gains, key district. Well, we're going to show anything here. I'm not showing anything that's saying. All right, let's see what this says right here. Fidelity says, let's take a look at distributions. Yeah, I don't know what's all right. So, yeah, I'm not sure what you'd have to look at this. So it's up 82% this year, averaging 16.47 for 10. Yeah, so here's it didn't pay any dividend last year. That's interesting. There's a price by month and doesn't say anything about potential distribution. So it doesn't even say about, let's see here. Hold on a second. I want to see what the NAV price is. Hold on a second. Distribution right there. In terms of how much the percentage is unrealized gain. Look at that. Turnover rate 1%. Yeah, there probably won't be a capital gain here, Pulverizer. On this fund, turnover rate 1%. Now that's as of February 2025. They're not going to be any. I can't guarantee there. I highly suspect there won't be a capital gain. The big distribution here, but what this means right here is the bulk of the portfolio is unrealized capital gain. So whenever this fund sells, it's going to be a big hit to its shareholders. The shareholders can be like, "Wait, can you see what I'm looking at?" No, you're not seeing what I'm looking at. Hold on a second. Let me switch out. Let me go to this right here. Hey Lee, you want to bring my tea for me? Thanks, girl. Oops, hold on a second. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Share screen right there. All right. So this right here is the turnover rate. Now, this is as of February, so I don't know if it's still active or not, but you can see it's not a very heavily traded fund, which means it's not going to have, if it stayed like that, there won't be hardly any capital gain whatsoever. But with that said, if they ever do make that what that tells me right there is that the massive growth of the portfolio is unrealized capital gains. So if they ever do make a sale inside the fund, if they sell fund A to buy fund B, it's going to be a big tax hit, I'd imagine. So if we want to look at, so we get the assets, 987 million. We want to see the unrealized capital gain. Man, I freaking can't get used to this. This is Fidelity. After that, all right, I'm not going to do it on the fly here. Portfolio. I'm not familiar with this website. Regional distribution. Hold on a second. Fun facts. Percent of hardly pays any dividend. Fund inception, expenses, dividend history. Didn't pay a dividend in 2024. All right, so it doesn't have what I'm looking for. Hey, thanks, girl. Appreciate it. You can shut that door when you're done. Anyway, so the issue in that regard is this is just while we're kind of going. Actually, let me just look at a Vanguard fund. I'll show what I'm talking about because it's pretty important, actually. So let's go to Vanguard. See, it's got portfolio assets, but it doesn't say how much portfolio assets are unrealized gain. At least that I can see in here. So let's just go to Vanguard. I'm familiar with Vanguard. SPY beats. Okay. It has been suggested to me that I use a charitable remainder trust to avoid long-term capital gain tax on some stock owned. Put the stock in a CRUT, draw it down, donate to last. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. I get it. I just, my argument is, how much you put in it. Don't tell me. Don't say it here. How much you put into the capital gains, that much of a problem. So we got CRUTs and CRATs and GRATs and everything in between. It's crazy. And there's been a long time since I did it. I just remember a CRAT is a charitable remaining annuity trust. A CRUT's a charitable remainder unit trust. That's that 5% you're talking about there. And I just, avoid long-term, get some stock owned, put the stock in a CRUT, draw it down 5% a year, donate the last 5%. It's been a long time since I looked into this. We used to do this quite a bit when I was in true wealth management, because I was a wealth manager, actually, but we were doing this a lot. But at the end of the day, I can't remember the exact scenario for CRUTs and CRATs and GRATs. There's something called a SLAT now. There's another one, too, I'm thinking about. Intentionally defective grantor trust, IDGT. I'm just like, all that to avoid capital gain. Okay. I was like, is it? I mean, look, I'm not going to chastise you. Nothing. Is it really that big of a deal? But it might be. You might be in a scenario where it is a big deal. I don't know. But anyway, let's see. My financial planner is suggesting Equitable Cornerstone Variable Index Annuity, the GMIB rider. Anytime you have to say all this to talk about one freaking investment, I always run for the hills. I'm going to buy the Equitable Cornerstone Variable Indexed Annuity with a GMIB rider. Okay, what does that mean? I'm not making fun of you, Jake. This is the issue with the annuity guy. Well, it's the GMIB rider on top of the GW Guaranteed Withdrawal Income Benefit, GWIB rider. On top of the death benefit, where the roll up. Some of these things are fine. I got no qualm with it. At the end of the day, it's like, dude, can they make it any more complex? Complexity is not. Simplicity is divine. Complexity is the devil's work. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying this is a devilish scheme. I actually have no problem with many variable annuities. Index annuities, I get a little bit nervous about because they do have pretty significant surrender charges. Generally speaking, I don't know anything about it. I'm not bashing. I'm buying the Equitable Cornerstone Variable Index Annuity, the GMIB rider. I just want to freaking jump off the Empire State Building. I just think, oh my goodness. I just say, what are you buying, Josh? I'm buying VTI and cash. Oh, no GMIB rider? No. No GWIB? No. No roll up? No. And what are the fees? 4 basis points. Look, I'm goofing on you, man. I've done plenty of annuity videos. I'm a pro annuity guy, just FYI. So do not take this lightly. Complexity drives you up the wall. I plan to retire. So basically, one of the benefits of annuities. I was going to go to Vanguard. Would freaking Pulverizer, would you stop confusing me with everything I do? All right, so we're going to go to Vanguard. And let's bring up Vanguard. Freaking Pulverizer. I check in. We talk about that. Not tax guy. CD interest is taxed the year is earned, not the year is paid. Yeah, but most CDs do that. But you're right. Yeah, Marie, that's 100%. I can't imagine he doesn't know that, Marie. Jake, you know that the annuity benefits cost money, right? And they might be worth it. I'm not an anti-annuity guy. If you want anti-annuities, you come to the wrong place. I'm not. Anyways, I'm here. That's right. All right, so let's bring up Vanguard, and we're going to show an example here, and we're just going to type in VWINX, and that's going to be the Vanguard. I want the Wellesley right here. All right, so we're going to show you the Vanguard Wellesley, and we're going to show you exactly what I was talking about. Vandy QB for the Heisman. No, well, it was going to be Haynes King for the Heisman, but Haynes laid a freaking fat egg yesterday because the referees are SEC fanboys. Freaking. All right, so let's look at this Vanguard fund. And so a couple of things we're looking at here is this is the yield. That's the income you get off the dividends right there. And this will be dividends and bonds because it's Wellesley is a basically 40-60 stock to bond portfolio. So that's what you're going to get. All right. So now this pays quarterly. All right. So when I say don't buy the dividend, well, you're going to get hit with that dividend. It's just, there's no two ways around it. So I would not worry about this right here being what keeps you from buying in this fund. What we're talking about, though, is we're going to come down here and we're going to show you the, actually, is it here? I want to show you here. Oh, hold on a second. I want to see if it gives us a, hold on just a second. I want to show you if it gives us, it doesn't show it on here, I don't think. Distribution, issuer, don't care about that. Fixed income equity, don't care about that. Distribution is right here. All right, so you can see right here, all right, this is the realized gains that they've got so far this year. $2.58, which is 4% of the fund price. All right, so the realized gain, you know for a fact, well, right here, it gives a good example. A fund's capital gain and losses reveal the tax implication of holding a particular fund in a taxable account. This is true of both realized and unrealized gains, all right? So we know for a fact, as of 10/31/2025, they've realized $2.58 of distributions, all right? They've realized that. Everybody with me on that so far? Someone's paying the tax on it, and that someone's going to be you, all right? Now, the question is, when do those actually get paid? And we're going to see here that they paid a dividend. Again, you can't really avoid the dividend. I mean, because it pays quarterly. Oh, they haven't paid a capital gain yet this year because the last they paid was in January of December of 2024. So they haven't paid a capital gain yet. But we know for a fact that we're going to get $2.58 capital gain at the very least distributed to us in December. And if we just look here, we can see they did it last time, December 19th. So we can assume the same thing. So the third week of December, this fund will give every shareholder a $2.58 capital gain distribution, if not more, because this is as of October 31st. So if you had 1,000 shares, you'd have $2,580 of capital gain distributions at the very minimal that you'd have to pay or pay taxes on. So that costs you 15%. You'd have to pay $300 of taxes on that 2,000, or maybe $400, whatever, on that distribution. So if you, for simplicity, if you put $100,000 in there, and you're going to get how much of the share price? It's 64 bucks. Oh boy, now I gotta do some math. I don't have my calculator. All right, let's just do like this. I'll show you exactly. So 100,000 bucks divided by 64. How many shares will we get? Hold on a second. I'll show you. Divide by 64. Boink. That means we're going to get 1,062 shares, 1,562 shares times, we're just going to say a $3 capital gain distribution. That means we're going to get $4,687 of capital gain income for which we have to pay tax on, which we'll just say 15%. And that means we're going to lose $700 of taxes. All right. So basically, if you were to buy the Wellesley Fund on December 17th, for simplicity, you just cost yourself 700, whatever I say, 750 bucks in taxes, where if you just would have waited till December 20th, you would have avoided that. And that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. A lot of people don't recognize it. Again, not in an IRA, 403B, 401k, anything like that. It's only in a brokerage account. Don't buy the dividend. In this case, don't buy the capital gain. It really should be don't buy the capital gain. But for some reason, the vernacular is don't buy the dividend. All right. Now, part two of this fund, look at this. Unrealized gains of NAV. This is interesting. Only 6.24% of this fund is unrealized gains. That's very, very low. So that means there's not a lot of capital gains coming down your way after this year. And the reason why it's so low is because this is a heavy bond fund. And there are very few capital gains in bonds anymore. I literally just hardly any. So these guys paid in 2024, they paid 1.4, let's see here, $1.70 on capital gains on $60 a share. And can we go, I guess, page one? Does it give us page two? Okay, that's it. Anyway, so the point being is there isn't a lot of unrealized capital gains in this fund. So even if you were to buy the dividend mistakenly, you watch my video and you said, I don't care what stupid Josh says, he's from Maine, he's dumb, I'm going to buy the dividend anyway. You're not going to have a lot of buy the capital gain in this case anyway. You're not going to have a lot of unrealized capital gains to be wary about in the future. All right. So now let's do a different fund. All right. Let's do a different fund. Hey, what's up, Andy? Dude, I got a freaking calculator. I just put it over the other. I got two. I got one downstairs and one here, and one over there. I just always forget it. All right. So now let's look at prime cap, like that guy said. We're going to look at prime cap. Giving another example, because I have a sneaky suspicion prime cap's got lots of unrealized capital gains. All right. So we look at prime cap. Realized gain of 98 cents a share. Unrealized gains, maybe not. What do you talk about, Pulverizer? Prime cap? No way. That can't be talking about prime cap. I'd be stunned if that was the case. All right. So here, not much of a dividend yield because it's mostly growth-oriented stock. So 79 cents, 79%. That's just not anything to get your panties all. Well, I don't know what it's called. Get your panties all tight or something. I don't know what the hell that is. It's up 27% this year. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. NAV is $212. You got to keep that in the back of your mind. $212. We're going to come down and we're going to go oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even the low turnover rate here too. Oh man, look at that. Only 3.8. That's fantastic. That again is a sign of very tax efficiency. I like it. So let's take a look now. We're going to look distributions. Oh, look at that. 27 bucks. 13% of the fund they've already realized as a capital gain this year. 13%. Whoa. So even Pulverizer would be stupid to buy this fund in December. So let's just say you put $100,000 in. All right. So we take our trusty calculator, $100,000. Oops. $100,000 divided by 212 bucks. Oops. Made another mistake. 212. Boink. You're going to buy 472 shares. 472 shares. All right. 472 shares. $27. We're just say for simplicity, $28 per share. 471 times 28. Boink, boink. That's a $13,000 capital gain distribution. This is just as of October. $13,000 on $100,000 times 0.15. That's $2,000 in taxes that you'd pay just to buy this in December because you want to prove me that you're like, Josh, I don't care what you say. And that would be dumb. Don't do that. Wait until the day after distribution. And again, the day after distribution, most likely, right here, December 19th, 2024. They paid $9 last year in long-term capital gain and short-term capital gain, 10 cents. Not much on 166. So basically, you're going to wait. I don't want to buy this fund before 12/19. I'll buy it on 12. It's really this date right here. But I would buy it the record date, but I'll buy it on 12/20 instead. Now, the problem with that, of course, is, but Josh, that means I'm going to miss out on the growth. I get that, 100%. 100% I get that. If you're going to worry about missing out on the growth, you'd want to buy it ASAP. But at the end of the day, you're going to lose $2,000 in taxes. And again, that's just before October. What have they done for realized capital gains since then? All right, part two of this. 65% of the fund is unrealized capital gains. That means there's going to be a lot of capital gains going forward. All right. You do not want this in a brokerage account if you're worried about capital gain distributions. You just don't, because that's a significant proportion of the fund is in unrealized capital gains. Now, the nice thing is they don't trade a lot here, so there shouldn't be huge distributions like some funds, but that's a pretty significant tax hit. Someone's paying it. Now, obviously, the way to reduce that is if the fund goes down in value, then you don't have as many unrealized capital gains because the fund has lost money relative to where it was before. But anyway, we don't want that to happen. So this would not be a fund you would buy into inside your brokerage account if you're trying to be tax efficient. Just simply because of the unrealized capital gains. You don't want to do that. That'd be dumb. All right. But if you are married and taxable income, it's the BGs or the Beatles. Active equity funds aren't a great choice for tax, 100%. Yep. I'm playing the BGs while listening to Josh. Well, you're a girl, so that's okay. If it's a dude doing that, that's not cool. That is not cool. All right. Anyway, so that not be. Now let's look at an index. So that's right there. So now let's just go to. We're going to show you VTI. All right. Again, these are all Vanguards now. All right. So your fund could be different, but Vanguard is notorious for being low distributions or low turnover on most of their funds. And the reason they're low turnover because they're very tax conscious for sure. So here's this is my primary holding right here. I own it, so you probably should not. Little yield. So if I had $100,000 in there, I get $1,000 of taxable dividend over the course of the year. Just not a big deal. All right, now we're gonna come down here. We're gonna show you that. What was it trading at? $336. All right, and we're gonna come down here, and we're gonna show you something here. All right. Oh, look at that. Realized loss in that fund. Pretty doggone interesting. Realized loss. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. But look at this fund. The percentage of this fund, 61% of this fund is also unrealized capital gain. Again, that would tell you something, what I just said about the prime cap, that this is a tax bomb waiting to happen. Except there's no capital gain distributions in Vanguard index funds. Isn't that interesting? If you look at the distribution history, you'll notice there's no capital gain distributions on Vanguard index funds because of some structure they had with the SEC, some kind of patent they had that I think the patent is expired, but they don't have to pay capital gain taxes. Don't ask me exactly how they work that. You could look that up and you're like, okay, but either way. So this fund has massive unrealized capital gain, but I don't worry about it because that has never been distributed. There's been never a capital gain distribution in VTI. maybe in 2002, but I don't even think that. Now you got dividend distributions, but not very much. So the point being, now the question is, what was I getting ready to say? I guess that was all I was going to say. So the point being is, if I had to choose between a brokerage account and a brokerage account between this or that other fund, I'd take this 100 times out of 100 because there's less taxable consequence to me. Now, either of these funds, all right, when you die on any of these funds, it transfers to your heirs tax-free via step-up in basis. And if you live in a community property state, unlike me in Georgia, it could transfer to your spouse 100% tax step-up basis in a community property state. I think it was 9 of them, 10 of them, something like that. But I live in a common law state. So when I die, my wife will get half of this with a step up, and the other half she'll have to pay capital gain tax on, assuming she sells it. Anyway, the point being is VTI is so much more tax efficient simply because it has a setup where it doesn't issue capital gain distributions, even though it has massive unrealized capital gains. I have the shares IVY in my brokerage account. Yep. VTI is an ETF, though. Yep, exactly. If you have 100 million in VTI, is that 100 million in VTI? You get whacked on state. Well, if you have 100 million in anything, you get whacked on state tax, man. Come on, it's not just VTI; it could be anything. The new Wellington ETF will probably be high tax consequences. I bought in an IRA. Well, it might be. I imagine it's because it's got bonds in there and dividend stocks. Let's see. If you are married and taxable income, if you would pay zero tax on that $13,000 gain. Yes, if you have, well, that's true. If you're below if you're still in the 12% tax bracket or below, you don't pay capital gain tax. That's 100% correct, Brad. A good point. Good observation. The issue, though, is at the end of the day, if we can avoid that anyway, why not? But I get it. The problem with the S&P 500 is that you are buying 7 MAG stocks and 493. Well, you're not really buying 7 MAG stocks and 493 others. I mean, 7 are heavy weighted, but there's still 65% of the portfolio is not those 7 stocks. So, I mean, I see what you're saying, but we've been through this before. Anyway, so now let's look at. I wanted to look at the Vanguard. They had a precious metals fund. I could have sworn precious metals. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's take a look at this. This one. Yeah, all right. Is that Vanguard? No. Global capital cycles. What the hell is this? All right. Let's see what this one. I don't even know what this is. World stock. Can you all see what I'm looking at? Yeah, right here. Okay, sweet. So this is the Vanguard version of the precious metals fund. Let's just take a gander, if we should. We're gonna come down to right here. Oh man, look at that. Wow. Realize. See, now the question, I don't think you take I can't remember. Someone's gonna have to look this up. I don't think the capital loss is distributed to the fund holders. I think it's just a capital gain. Someone look that up if you could. I can't remember. I just don't recall. So do you get the realized gain? I don't think you do. I think it's just stuck in their fund to offset some future gains. I don't think it's distributed as a capital loss that you can write off in your taxes. In fact, I'm almost positive that. But if someone wants to look that up, that's fine. Anyway, so they got 21. That's not as much I would have thought, but they don't have a huge tax consequence or a huge exposure to gold and precious metals. So 21% is unrealized capital gain. That's a lot, but not that big a deal. Actually, now, but I am curious. We're typing USAGX. Let's see if they got that in here. Let's see. Yeah. Ooh, maybe they can give us nice. Will they give us the facts on this? This one's got to have a big one, I think. A big one. That's what she said. All right. Oh, it doesn't. Damn. Vanguard freaking. I just want to see the percentage of USAGX that's unrealized capital gain and what the freaking NAV is. Not NAV, but distribution is going to be. Yeah. Stupid victory funds. You guys suck. Anyway, whatever. I don't know. You know what? I'm back in the old days when I was at Vanguard. The Vanguard Healthcare was run by a guy named Ed Owens. I wonder what that has done. I can't remember the ticker. VTH. I forgot. Healthcare Fund. Yeah, what the hell was that ticker? All right. Yeah, VHCIX. There you go. That's what it used to be. I remember that. No, that's the index. Anyways, run by a guy named Ed Owens. Back when I worked at Vanguard back in the 90s. No, you cannot get capital losses distributed through a mutual fund. Mutual funds will distribute. Okay, there you go. All right, right on. That's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure. All right, so here's the healthcare fund. Healthcare fund used to be had a couple years of pretty big distributions that used to piss people off. Let's see here. Yeah, so 37% of this is not much in realized gain this year. That's good, but 37% of a third of the portfolio is unrealized capital gain. So anyway, so there's your little tutorial about avoiding. Oh, interesting. They paid a long-term. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. They paid a long-term capital gain already, right here. Huh. Wonder why they did that. So they took some gains off the table in March of this year, and on top they paid a capital gain in December of last year. That's interesting. I wonder who the manager is now. It can't be Ed Owens anymore. Because he's got to be too old to run this thing. Fund management. Let's see. Wellington, Rebecca Sykes. All right, who the hell that is, I don't know. Rebecca Sykes. All right, so there's a Vanguard Healthcare Fund. Used to be a freaking, used to tear it up. What's the dividend on this guy? Only 1.04%. Let's see the turnover here. Let's take a look. Turnover right down here. Right there. Okay, so much higher turnover than most Vanguard funds. All right, so there's a little tutorial on Fidelity is much better than Vanguard. Their website or what? I mean, I would say Fidelity funds are not as good as Vanguard, but I do like their website better. All right, so then a couple things just on tax stuff. If you're gonna tithe, all right, let's just say you make 100,000 a year, and you're like, I'm going to tithe. Well, what you do is you'd actually, and we'll say you have some mortgage interest, real estate tax, and whatnot. Instead of tithing at $10,000 a year, what you should do, she is as DEI replacement. Exactly. What you should do is bundle up your contributions into 1 year. All right. So instead of 10,000 today, 10,000 next year, 10,000 the year after, you should just do 30,000 this year so you can get a tax deduction. Because 10,000 isn't going to get you over the threshold for standard deductions unless you have all kinds of other deductions. But you always want to bundle your charitable giving. All right. So if you're, again, that's a lot of money you got to come up with. But if you are going to do 10,000 a year and you have the liquidity, you should do it all in 1 year and say, I'm going to tithe for the next 3 years or 4 years or 5 years in this 1 year. Just give right away to the church or whatever you want to do. That way you can get the deduction, because if you don't do it, most likely you're not going to get the tax deduction. A lot of people say make sure you maximize your pre-tax stuff. Maybe. I don't agree with that 100%. I think a lot of people get way too enamored with tax deductions, and I just don't think they should. Talking to a guy today, a legend out there in Florida, and he had like 1.3 million in pre-tax stuff. And he's like, man, I'm going to get killed in RMDs. And it's like, you're just not. Your effective tax rate is basically 11% for the rest of your life. It will be in the 22% tax bracket, but it's an 11% effective tax rate. So you're just not to. So you're fine. He's a single guy too. So it's like just no Roth conversions or anything like that. He didn't have enough cash. I said, I wish he'd have more cash, but for a lot, so he's fine. But for a lot of people, especially if you're married, I just say, for a lot of people, I say, bite the bullet, man. Bite the bullet and pay a little bit more tax today so that way you can avoid more tax in the future. And when I say more, I'm not necessarily going to pay more tax in the future. You'll probably pay less. But I'm just telling you, the one thing you don't want as an albatross around your neck is to worry about the taxes when you're worried about running out of money in retirement. You pay the tax now so you don't have to carry that burden in the future. I mean, I'm telling you, all the financial planners will spreadsheet me and say, you're wrong, Josh, you're wrong. Debt reduction is always paramount versus tax reduction. I completely agree, dude. Completely. Absolutely. Tax reduction is frankly pretty silly because there's not much. I mean, your standard deductions are so high now. The difference between a $35,000 itemized deduction and a $30,000 standard deduction at a simple freaking 22% tax bracket is just not a huge. I mean, it's look $660, whatever the hell it is. I mean, it's real money. Don't get me wrong, but it's not enough to make you freaking freak out like it's not. Anyway, the point being is you don't fall under the illusion that, hey, take every single standard tax deduction you can take in your 401k IRA and whatnot, because they'll save on taxes later. You might save on taxes, but you actually save on nervousness. And I mean, you could, I don't know, but I think a lot of people don't. I think they'd much rather have paid the tax when they're young and can afford it than pay it in the future when they can't work. Yes. Give away your charitable 100%, man. Give away your stock that has unrealized gains. Yeah, I think were you the ones talk about the CRUT, Bradley Do Right? Yeah, 100%. I mean, give away if you have unrealized gain and you have charitable intent and you don't want to wait till death to leave that to your heirs for step-up basis. Give your unrealized, appreciated stock to your local charity. Now, I tell you, man, I don't like a lot of these charities. I think all of these charities should be taxed. All of them. We should get rid of 100% any tax deductions. All of it. Because what's happened is such a scam. It's money laundering operation. Absolutely. The vast majority of these charities are nonprofits, charities are money laundering for sure. So I would say just instead of doing some stupid tax deduction, just give it to a local family in need or something like that. I mean, I don't trust these guys as far as the Salvation Army is pretty good. Goodwill is pretty good, but a lot of these other companies are freaking scams. It's money laundering for uber wealthy, and that's why we should get rid of all charitable deductions, to everything, to churches too. Oh my goodness, but we can't, do the Great Commission unless we get a charitable deduction. Local, well, and it might be local family scammers, but if they're in your local community and you know them, the likelihood of them scamming you is probably less so than freaking some clown who's in Washington, D.C., pound around with Sniffy Joe Biden. I'd rather pay the tax when I'm working versus later when I'm not working. That's why I stick with the Roth 401k IRA. Yes. Yeah. And look at that. And old Jeremy's quoting that, attributing that to me. He didn't put the trademark on there. I should have trademarked that. How dare you, Jeremy? But anyway, and again, if you're going to give it to a local guy and he turns out to be a scammer, he probably needed the money more than you did anyway. That's the way I look at it. But you don't get to they got these people on the sidewalks. Well, I'm new from Romania. I have no money. Give me money. And she driving around like a Mercedes Benz or something like that. Yeah, dude. I remember when and you can save money in a Roth 401k, and you can save more in a Roth 401k over. Exactly. Just don't spare change buying heroin. Well, I don't know about that, but a lot of these guys are freaking scammers themselves. I remember when I used to walk through Center City, Philadelphia. I remember this one fat white chick. It's just a young fat white chick just sitting on the side. There's freaking little pain out there every single day. I was like, dude, I guarantee you're a rich girl from the suburbs. I guarantee. I was like, and who's? Freaking used to piss me off. It's like work. If you don't work, you don't eat, man. That's from the Bible. If you don't work, you don't eat. It's just a fact. And yet people are like, I don't want to work. America sucks. I'm not working. If the market drops, good time convert to a Roth. Yeah, save a lot of taxes. Yeah, dude. And like an idiot, I didn't do my own advice. I was telling people to do that in March of 2020 for infants. I was going through a walk, the neighborhood over there. I did a video. Do your freaking Roth conversions. Market's down 30% in like 45 days. Did I do it? No. I'm like the cobbler whose kid has no shoes. Freaking idiot. Prairie Mark is 71. I'm 71 and retired. My wife is still working, putting a retirement in Roth. How much can I contribute to her Roth, if any? Well, I think the max this year is 7,000 pulverizer. Is there a cash up? I can't remember. But your wife is probably under the age of 50. You probably married some young hot lady, freaking, because I know you're kind out there in freaking wherever you are, Minnesota, you're scouring around the freaking high school volleyball teams and say, hey, my name's Prairie Mark. Come marry me. So she's probably 18 years old, your wife. So she's probably only making $7,000 a year babysitting. So she could put that max in. I can't remember how much she can put in. I just can't recall. If she's over 50, and I don't remember how much, what the catch up, not the catch up, but I don't know what they've increased it till to 2026. I just don't recall, Mark. So you'd have to look that up. But remember, if she still has earned income, she can still contribute for you too, Mark. Don't forget that as well. As long as one person has earned income, they can contribute for both people as well. So in this case, it'd be good if you married a young, smoking hot, 18-year-old volleyball player at high school is doing nothing but babysitting. That way she can work and contribute to your Roth IRA with her earned income. So there you go, baby. Old Prairie Mark, he's out there. Just watch out for your high school volleyball player daughters. Pet peeve of mine. Why these high school volleyball players wear those short skirts or short things? I don't get it. They never did that. Hot Somalian chick in Minnesota. Well, Somalian women are pretty smart. They're pretty hot, dude. Somalian men are the freaking ugliest things in the history of mankind, but Somalian women are freaking pretty. They're smoking hot, dude. Traditional wife baking sourdough and selling off the porch. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. Trad wife. And she probably makes Andrew say, when people come out to buy the sourdough, they're like, hey, hot mama. They go, what's your granddad doing here? She goes, that's not my granddad. That's my husband. I do 100%. They wear it for us. There's no ways around that. I said, what happened was volleyball said, we need to show for girls volleyball, we need to show more skin so we can get more eyes on the prize. I still pet peeve of mine. The sexualization of America is, but if you bless Israel, God will bless you too. I'm like, well, ever since we've been blessing Israel, it seems like our quality of life in terms of degeneracy has gone up significantly. I just find it funny. Of course, there's no biblical thing that says bless Israel. It doesn't say that, but I always find the funny is like, because I hear these people all the time, Mark Levins and all that. If you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. Like, well, all I'm seeing is ever since Israel came on the thing and we've been blessing them with our money and our wealth and our freaking blood, we certainly haven't got a better society. That's for doggone sure. Not my wife. She can't cook at all. It's only gotten a whole lot more degenerate. That's just a fact. So if that is a thing, we should go the other way around. I'm just so sick of these freaking, these right wingers, supposed right wingers, we got to do it. Like freaking Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee had Jonathan Pollard, had a meeting with Jonathan Pollard. I was like, I couldn't believe it, dude. I was like, I was so friggin' disgusted that Republican Party, my representatives said it's okay to have a meeting with Jonathan Pollard. What next? Roman Polanski, Mike Huckabee, you freaking clown. If we can get our young men staring at the volleyball team's asses again instead of their phone screens, that'd be a good development. That's probably true. Hey, Harry, probably true. But I mean, but they did the show. They had to show skin to get eyes on it for sure. And I find it sad. I find it sad that the only way to make women's sports somewhat mainstream is to sexualize it. And they're going to start doing the NBA, WNBA. They're trying to with Angel Reese and stuff, but it's going to be tough to have 6'3" black women, 6'3" freaking what's that chick's some blonde chick that doesn't look that good. Trying to be like it's just gonna be hard for that to go over as well. It's just not that, what's that white chick's name? Caitlin Clark. It's not all that attractive. It's not gonna make it. Angel Reese is attractive, don't get me wrong, but it's gonna be hard to glamorize the WNBA the way they can in lacrosse, girls lacrosse and girls volleyball. I guess I robbed the cradle. Yeah, 100%. And WNBA, not a very attractive group of ladies. And not only that, but they don't like men anyway. Jonathan Pollard is a freaking Israeli spy who ended up selling secrets that he stole from the United States, very important secrets that ended up in the hands was it Jonathan Pollard that ended up in the hands of China? There's another Israeli spy, or the USSR, I can't remember. There's another Israeli spy who stole from us and also ended up in the hands of China. And remember what we did the Rosenbergs, we strung them up in 2 seconds flat. I don't know why we can't. It's not good, man. It's not good. And then Mike Huckabee actually had a meeting with this guy. And then Jonathan Pollard, when he went back to Israel, they treat him like a freaking welcoming hero. It's freaking disgusting, dude. Pollard went to the commie Russia. Yeah, the Rosenbergs got the chair. Jonathan Pollard was treated like a hero in front. He had an audience in front of Mike Huckabee. It's crazy to me. And then the guy from Syria, the bad Al Qaeda guy, gets a meeting with was it Trump or somebody? I forgot who it was. I was like, what the hell's going on here, dude? This whole thing is so stupid. Anyway, all right, I'm going to go watch some basketball, some football. Hey, can you recommend having a Medi-Share plan as a primary health coverage? We like Medi-Share, Harry. I'm a big fan. We were on it. The issue is we had pre-existing conditions for one of my kids that could have been pretty significant. So we got nervous that if we needed a heart issue, because she had a heart issue, that Medi-Share would not cover. And we got nervous. So we went on traditional health insurance after that. But a huge fan of Medi-Share. The Rosenbergs got old Sparky at Sing Sing in New York, and we need to be bringing old Sparky back out 100%. But don't you know there might be an innocent person? Dude, I used to fall for this. I used to be my libertarian age. I was anti-death penalty, and I said libertarians are just full. After I saw what happened during the pandemic, and the libertarians just folded like cheap suits, they did not stand up against a tyranny. A couple guys did. You know what I'm saying? But the vast majority of the libertarians, I said, you guys suck, dude. And I started having a reawakening. I went back to my Buchananite republicanism. The not the neocon, the paleocon of American First Buchananism. That's what I went back to, because that's what I was. I was raised a communist, essentially. After I saw the reality of the world when I went in the army, I said, no, dude, this is nuts. Came out as a Buchananite. Then I started getting educated on libertarian philosophy and stuff. And I voted for Harry Brown in 1996, did not vote for Bob Dole. Voted for Buchanan in the primary. I think I ended up voting for Ross Perot because George H.W. Bush. I was just like, no way. And then I started going to more mainstream republicanism after 9/11. And I'll never forget Waco and Ruby Ridge. I was radicalized, but I was radicalized more to the libertarian side. And then I realized the libertarians are just fake. And I said, dude, anarchy will never work. And so it's just not going to work. It's so idiotic. So we're going to have the government, and you might as well control the government to do your bidding for you. And the bidding that we should be doing isn't for H-1Bs and friggin' diversity for diversity's sake. It should be for your own people. Crazy. Anyway, I was a sucker. And, not that my vote for George W. Bush in 2000 or 2004 changed anything, but anyway, Buchanan like tariffs. I supported him back in the day. I'm a huge fan of tariffs, man, 100%. What are your thoughts about cover call? I just don't like cover call ETFs, brother. I've done videos on that. I'm just not a fan. All right, but I'm going to go watch some football. God bless. We'll see you guys. Thanks for coming, and stay sober out there, Harry and Prairie Mark. Don't be drinking and driving that tractor of yours. I'm driving a tractor. All right, see you guys. We'll see you.